We're continuing in this series of lessons on cross connections. And we've been talking about as you go, the church grows. And we've been talking about different things. In Romans chapter 12 and verse 5, it says, "So in Christ, we who are many form one body, and each member belongs to all the others." And that's kind of what we've been talking about, the idea of the connection that we have. Again, the cross connections with God and the connection with each other and then to the world around us. And so, again, we're getting close to the end of this. I have one other lesson that we're going to preach on this series. But it's my hope that through this series, each of us have been seeing the importance of truly being connected, being a part of a body. Not just being somebody who comes and shows up, checks off their list, and goes out the door, but actually being connected. Connected to God, connected to each other, and then connected to the world. And in that connection that we make, we need to understand that that connection with each other entails our serving together. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. You see, what's the point? As our theme states, we worship together. We develop relationships with each other, and then we start serving together. Now, in order to do the Lord's work, in order for it to get done, we must serve. You've got to be a part of the action. You've got to be involved. God didn't call you to sit soaking sour. He called you to get involved. He didn't want us to sing "'Tis So Sweet to Rust in Jesus." You know, He wants us to get involved. He wants us to be a part of the body. Today's lesson, again, we're going to understand how we can minister to those that God brings into our lives, how we can work together in that. And there's some things we need to do in order to work together. How can we focus on serving God, doing His work, encouraging each other to do that work that we've been called to do? Philippians chapter 2, verses 1 and 2 says, "Is there any encouragement from belonging to Christ? Any comfort from His love? Any fellowship together in the Spirit? Are your hearts tender and compassionate? Then make me truly happy by agreeing wholeheartedly with each other, loving one another, and working together with one mind and purpose." That's what we're looking at. Working together with one mind and one purpose. Now, how in the world, with this many different people, with this many diverse backgrounds, with different age groups, with different backgrounds, with different educations, with different wants and desires, how can we all melt together and form a body and work together? Well, there's some things we need to do. What does it take to serve as a part of the team? Well, let's look at that. Number one, it takes trust. Proverbs chapter 20 and verse 6. "Many a man proclaims his own loyalty, but who can find a trustworthy man?" In this day and age, isn't that the case? I mean, it's hard to find people that you can trust, right? I mean, people say, "Well, I'll do that." Never happens. "Oh, yeah, today I've talked to a lot of people who own businesses, who trying to get people to work, and they are shocked at how so many people today, when they get a job, are just don't have any commitment. They'll tell you they're going to do something. I'll be at work, and then they just don't show up. They don't call. They don't tell anybody. And how it causes so much stuff. Or somebody does a job, and they say, "Well, you know what? I'm going to show up, and I'll do that for you. I'll be there Monday at 8 o'clock in the morning." Well, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they still hadn't showed up. You've taken off all day to meet that person. It's frustrating. But it shouldn't be that way in the church, should it? So we need to, when we can be people who are trustworthy, we are a breath of fresh air to a world that doesn't see much of that. Let's live in a way where our brothers and sisters can develop trust in us. Let us live our lives in a way that those who are outside of Christ can know that we can be trusted as well. So the first thing is we need to be trustworthy. Now, how can we build trust? Well, number one, to build trust is be consistent. Luke chapter 16 in verse 10 says, whoever can be trusted is with very little can be trusted with much. And whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. Above almost everything, we need to have balance and be consistent. Whether it's something little, returning a phone call, or something big, showing up at a family funeral. Let others know that we are always there, that we are trustworthy, that we can be counted on. Then number 2, be confidential. Proverbs 11 and verse 13 says, a gossip betrays a confidence, but a trustworthy man keeps a secret. You know, there are just a lot of people you can't say much to you. You say, well, don't tell that. Of course, they're saying, I won't. And then they're mumbling, until I see somebody. I mean, that's the way they are. It's hard to find people to talk to. It's tough to find someone that you can keep private things private. I want to encourage you to be confidential with information that others share with you. You know, we have one of our things, and we've had people complain about this, and I understand. But we've had people complain about this, but in our life groups, one of our policies in our life groups is every now and again, we don't do it every time we get together, but every now and again, we go through things in our life groups, and one of the things in our life groups we try to let everybody know is confidentiality. When we have a life group, we talk about our lives and everything. Well, can I trust you to keep what we talk about among each other? If we're going to work together, we're going to have confidence in each other that we can be confidential with information that we share. And then we need to be close. Proverbs 17 verse 17. A friend is always loyal. A brother is born to help in time of need. There's those in my life that I know that I can pick up my phone and I can call them, and I know they'll say, I'll be right there. I've got your back. You don't have to worry about it. I've got it covered. I want to encourage you to be one of those. I'm here if you need me kind of thing. And they mean it. And it's such a comfort to know that those people are out there. Be one of those kind of people. I've got people in this church. I know, I just know if I want to get it done, that's the person I need to call, because, a lot of people say, hey, let me know if you can do anything, and then when you go get them, they never can. Be one of those kind of people that when someone has a need, you're there to meet that need. Be close. Let's strive to be a people that our brothers and sisters can trust, and let's strive to be people whom others can trust. And then the next thing is, if you want to serve together as a team, you need to have empathy. Empathy. In 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 8, he says, finally, all of you live in harmony with one another. Be sympathetic, love as brothers, be compassionate and humble. Now, how in the world do I show empathy to someone? Number one, you need to slow down. Our lives are so busy that we're out here. I mean, you ask somebody how they're doing, and a lot of people, they'll ask, how you doing, and they don't even slow down long enough for you to answer. We need to slow down and show people that we care. We're running a mile a minute. James chapter 1 verse 19 says, everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. The pace of our society is just not conducive to empathetic behavior. We need to be able to slow down to listen to people and to look at people and to see people where they are. And that's why we must consciously make an effort to slow down and notice the people around us. And in conjunction with that, the next thing you need to do is to ask questions. Slow down and ask questions. How you doing today? Proverbs chapter 20 verse 5 says, the purpose of a man's heart are deep waters, but a man of understanding draws them out. I like that. You seem down. What's bothering you today? What's going on in your life? You don't seem to be like yourself today. Can I help you in some way? Until you take the time to slow down and look at them and take the time to notice them, to ask those questions. Hey, is everything good with you? And then the third thing is show emotions. Romans chapter 12 verse 15, rejoice with those that rejoice and weep with those that weep? Are we losing something in our society today? It's okay to cry with someone, to hurt with someone. We need to do that. Let them know that you feel their pain by sharing in it. Heard a story about a little girl. Her mother had sent her to go do something, told her to be back at a certain time, and she didn't show up. Well, of course, as a mother, she was a young girl, a little bitty girl. She didn't show up. The mother was looking for her. She didn't come. Finally, the little girl showed up. Her mother was furious with her. She said, "What was you doing? What was you thinking? You told me you'd be home and you didn't make it. I've been waiting on you. What's going on?" She said, "Mom, I'm sorry." So my little friend Susie, her doll broke. Her mother said, "Well, what was you going to do about her doll being broken?" She said, "Well, there was nothing I could do, but I sat on the step and cried with her." That's the way we need to be. There might not be anything you can do. A lot of times when something happens to somebody, you say, "Well, I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to do." And so I don't go to the funeral home, or I don't go by their house, or I don't visit them because I really don't know what to say. Let me let you in on a hint. You don't have to say anything. Just show up. Just be there. We're studying the book of Job on Wednesday night. One of the things that talks about Job had these friends that came, said they sat there for 7 days and didn't say a word. Isn't that interesting? Sat there they left where they were because they heard that Job had a problem. They came to Job and they just sat there. They said he was in such turmoil in his life, they didn't say anything. Sometimes that's just the best thing to do. But you need to be empathetic. You need to be able to feel for people. You need to weep with those that weep and rejoice with those that rejoice. And both are important. When good news happens, do you go up and congratulate people? Do you tell them, "Hey, man, I'm for you"? It's interesting to me that I've seen, and this may be one of our weaknesses, when someone does really good, for some reason, society today wants to tear them down, don't they? "Yeah, well, they must have done something to get that." Or, "Yeah, they think there's something because they come in all this money." You know what? I wish you were all millionaires. Because that means we'd have all the money we need to do whatever we want to do. I wish you well in everything that you do. I am glad when you prosper. The Russians were real bad about that. They thought, if somebody prospered, you must have done something wrong. We have a little of that here in our society today. We just hide it better than most people do. We need to rejoice with those that rejoice and weep with those that weep. And let's strive to be the people who empathize with our brothers and sisters. Let's strive to be people who emphasize with those lives that are outside of Christ. People want something. We're drawn to those who are different. As a part of Christ's body, love like he loved. I think it was interesting, when you look at Jesus. You remember when Lazarus died and Jesus came, and what is it? The shortest verse in the Bible. Can anybody quote it for me? Jesus wept. Jesus wept. Have you ever thought about that? Jesus knew he could raise him from the dead. Why did he weep? He wept because it hurt them that they were hurt. He knew he was going to raise him. He knew what was going on. He knew. He had the power. It wasn't like he went in and said, "I don't worry about it. I got this." He empathized with them, didn't he? We need to be those kind of people. That, you may not think it's that big a deal. I have a problem with this sometimes. My wife lets me know that I have this problem sometimes, but I don't do too well with this sometimes. Your pet dies. I'm working on it. But we need to be better at it may not be a big deal to me, but it is a big deal to you, so it ought to be a big deal to me because it's a big deal with you. You know what I mean? I'm working on it, Terry. It's a dog, it's a dog, but it's, she says, "That's where you're going to be when I die." I said, "No, honey, I'll call the kids when you die," but But we need to empathize better with each other. We need to understand that people hurt, and it may not mean anything to you, but it means something to them. And because we love them, it means something to us. You see what I'm saying? And so we need to be able to do that. And so we need to do that. The next thing we need to do is we need to, if we want to serve as a team, we need to accommodate. 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 22, run from temptations that capture young people. Always do the right thing. Be faithful, loving, and easy to get along with. Some of you guys need to take that, find that verse. I'll give you a moment. That's 2 Timothy chapter 2:22. Mark that in your Bible. Wives, you may want to get their book and do that. Easy to get what? Along with. We need to be that way. Be flexible, accommodating to others. This is such an easy thing to say, but so hard to do. Our schedules, our views on things, our patterns, all are things that get in the way of us accommodating others. And I'm telling you, as a society, it's even getting worse, not better. How can I accommodate others? Number one, by accommodating their ideas. In Proverbs chapter 18, verse 15. Now listen, smart guy. Intelligent people, you get this? Smart people are always ready to learn. Their ears are open for knowledge. I had somebody tell me one time, as if they were bragging, man, I've got the same beliefs I had 30 years ago. You know what I say to them? Hey, you ain't been studying your Bible. Because if you haven't changed, it means you're not studying. Life has changed. By the way, people talk about, and one of the trigger words we have in the churches of Christ is change agents. I'm a change agent. I'll just admit it. Life has changed. If you are not changing you're changing whether you like to admit it or not, number one. But if you're not changing, something's wrong. I mean, if you are growing, you are changing. If you're becoming more like Jesus, you are changing. We need to be changing. This church needs to be changing. We need to be accommodating. We need to be people. That's where Paul was when he said, I become all things to all men, that by all means I may reach a few. Why? He says, I need to be looking and seeing and making adjustments as I go along. We need to do that. Don't be afraid to entertain the thought that is different from the way that you see things. Now, you don't have to agree with it, but at least you ought to do is think about it and think about their perspective. I mean, we're all different. God made us that way. And there's so much that we can learn from each other if we just will. I don't know whether y'all know this or not, but I'm back in school again. I'm in school, and I'm talking big time. I'm talking, and it ain't easy. I'm going to school on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I leave the house, I get up 4:30, and I don't get back till 6 that evening. And I'm taking classes all day. I'm trying to learn some other things. And I'm 62 years old. I'm the oldest one in the class, including my teacher. All these young guys in there, these sharp minds, I'm thinking, good for you. And I'm struggling. I just tell you, it's hard to get back in schools. But I know it's important. I know I need to keep learning. I need to expand myself. And by the way, I'm in a class that has nothing to do with the Bible, because I understand that if you want your brain to keep working, you're supposed to do things that you're not used to doing. And I think my brain should be working good right now. But anyway, we need to do that. We need to entertain the thought. We need to know that I don't know it all. One of the most hurtful things I've ever heard to me was a man that I respected greatly, who was and I consider a great Bible scholar, who told me in his 70s, he said, you know what, I just don't study anymore. And I wanted to say, shame on you, but I had too much respect. Shame on you. You are never to the point where you have it all down. If you do, come see me. I'll show you where you're wrong. Because we none of us have it. Or just ask your wife. That's even better. She'll let you know. By, number one, accommodating ideas. By accommodating their personalities. Romans chapter 12 and verse 6 says, we all have different gifts. each of which came because of the grace that God has given us. Not only do we think differently, but we also have different personalities, and thank God for those different personalities. How boring it would be if everybody was just alike. Now, I know some of you guys are saying, oh man, it'd be great if everybody was just like me. It'd be a great place if everybody was just like me. That's not what your wife said. We need to know that these different personalities and everything are good. We work together. Some of you, there's some of you ladies that you're just naturally had the ability to pick up on people's needs and accommodate those needs. There's other you have talents in areas of building. Others you have some talents in just so many different areas. We need to accommodate the differences in each other's personalities. We need to accommodate, thirdly, their faults. This is the hard one. Ephesians 4:2. Always be humble and gentle. Be patient with each other, making allowance for others' faults because of your love. Okay, I can accommodate somebody's ideas, and I can tolerate somebody with a different personality, but I can't accommodate the faults of others. As we consider this aspect of this point, I want to encourage you to think of one thing. How many times has Jesus had to forgive you? Until you no longer have the need for God to forgive you of anything in your life, then you need to start forgiving everybody else. But until you get to that point, and I don't think you're ever going to get there, you need to be accommodating of other people's faults because you're full of them. I'm full of them. We're all full of them. As we consider, we need to think of how many times that Jesus has forgiven us. And I encourage you to tolerate others only to the same degree that you have been accepted by Christ. If you'll do that, we'll be great. Let's be flexible enough to accommodate the differences that we see in our brothers and sisters, and let's strive to accommodate those in our lives who are outside of Christ. Let me tell you something, and I've done this. I did it in a class a few weeks ago in the summer series when I had to fill in. There's not one single one of us, there's not two of us in this congregation who will agree on everything. There's just not. So if we're going to be the body, if we're going to be the church, if we're going to be in one in mind, then we're going to have to accommodate a little bit of differences in each other. Isn't that true? Let's be flexible enough to do that. People in the world have a very little patience with others. And many times that is because of differences. So if we don't accommodate others, how are we any different from the world? Then the next thing we need to understand is to serve as a team, we need to have a mission. What is a congregation without a mission? Self-serving, inwardly focused, a group of people who are not serving the purpose that the Lord intended for the church to be. That's a church without a mission. Philippians 2:1-2 says, if there's any encouragement from belonging in Christ, any comfort from His love, any fellowship together in the Spirit, are your hearts tender and compassionate, then make me truly happy by agreeing wholeheartedly with each other, loving one another, and working together with one mind and one purpose. A mission. Philippians 1:27. Above all, you must live as citizens of heaven, conducting yourselves in a manner worthy of the good news about Christ. Then, whether I come and see you again or only hear about you, I will know that you are standing together in one spirit and one purpose, fitting together for the faith, which is the good news. So, what is the mission here? Now, we put up here, we exist to live and love like Jesus, but I'm going to break it down to one word. If we're going to live and love like Jesus, Jesus' main mission was to connect. Connect us to God, connect us to each other, connect us to the world around us. Our mission is to connect. Isn't it true? I mean, when you really narrow it down, if you want to have a one-word mission for this church, connect. To God through worship, to each other through relationships, and to others through service. The whole idea is that we do this first with ourselves. That we get this down with ourselves. We see the importance of our relationship with God, and we see our importance of this body. When you get to thinking this body isn't worth much, you're not going to put much into it. And you're not going to be as involved, and you're not going to be as connected. And then we continue that process of serving together, serving others. So I ask you today, are you connected to God through worship? I mean, do you really connect with God in this worship? You've got a relationship with God. Are you connected with your fellow members through relationships? I know somebody's going to fuss when I get out of here when I say this, but they're going to come out and say, Mitchell said I can't go to heaven if I'm not in a life group. But I'm going to tell you, that's pretty close. No, I'm saying, no, but I'm saying you need that connection that we have, that we're trying to build. Now, we're not there yet. You'll go there and you'll find out we don't have it all together in life groups either. We don't have it together in our worship service. We don't have it together. But what I'm saying is we're trying to build that way, and we're trying to work that way. And I'm saying I need you. You need me. We need each other. And we just don't get enough time together right here in the hour that we have right here sitting in worship services. We need that connection. And so, are you connected with your fellow members here through relationships? And are you ministering together through service? If no, identify where you need to start. Do I need to fix my relationship with God? Maybe you're here today and you've got sin in your life and you need to fix that relationship with God. You know you've got a problem there and you need to fix that. If you're not a Christian, it comes with beginning that relationship with God. You've heard His word. You believe what He has to say. You know that He is who He said He is. You believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of the living God. You're willing to turn from your sins, confess your faith, be baptized, and then you had that connection with the church. Now, if you're a member of the church, maybe the connection is broken because of sin. He says if we confess our sins, He is faithful just to forgive us of our sins and cleanse us from all unrighteousness. Then he goes on to say in 1 John, if we walk in the light as He is in the light, we have fellowship. Listen to this connection. One with another. And the blood of His Son continually cleanses us of our sins. There's the connect. Where are you in that place? Maybe you need to connect better in your service. We should constantly be pulling others in. And we should constantly be trying to help others to connect. Now, what have you gathered so far in this series? Have you allowed these things to penetrate in your life, get into your heart, cause you to serve better, have your relationship with God better and your relationship with the church better? I hope so. If not, we need to work on that. And if we can help you this morning, certainly want to do that. As we stand, we offer the invitation.